passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Coming down, does he have it? Look at Thompson! Haven't got it! He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Well,
good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to PRL. It's Season 12, Round 6, and we are here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We are kicking off our Middle Eastern leg in Tier 2 before we go to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. My name is Darragh Thacker, joined in the commentary box by Joshua, Griffin, Meek, JG, and Josh. Good evening.
Yes,
Abu Dhabi,
hello.
It's different to some of the tracks we've had before, isn't it? So
Yes.
This could be quite interesting as a challenge.
it's certainly going to be a challenge for these drivers to try and adapt themselves back in. Of course, we've had quite a bit of a break as well. A lot of drivers in chat saying they're feeling a little bit rusty, they're not really feeling up to speed with it. For me, it's all going to be about which one of the drivers wants to risk it straight at the start of qualifying, showing they've still got the confidence that they can carry over from the likes of Austria, Netherlands, and then of course that little mid-season event we had here at PRL as well. Again, it's going to be something that the drivers will have to just build upon slowly, getting back into this phase, because, you know, we mentioned a lot towards the end of the first half of the season. These are going to be the crucial tracks, right? This Middle Eastern split, Darragh, they're going to be the ones you want to score the points at.
And I think it's particularly important because they are so different, really, in their characteristics when you've got Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. So you've really got to perform in all three, despite them being different challenges. But Abu Dhabi, a great place to kick off this second part of the season. It has been 3 weeks since we're in Austria, so there may be a little bit of rust for some of these guys. But I think it's really important to hit the ground running because, as you said, Josh, there's not enough time, really, to have an off week or two.
Yeah, I mean, 3 weeks. I mean, I can't believe it. It feels like it's only a moment ago since I was back here at PRL. But no, it is one of those things. They do need to hit the ground running. They do need to carry a bit more pace through. But given the changes the Abu Dhabi circuit's had, even if they don't necessarily get a chance to show the pace in the qualifying during the race segment, they should be able to make overtakes. It shouldn't be as much of a clusterful DRS train as what the old Abu Dhabi circuit was like, because we do have that complete long straight now going all the way down from turn 4 now with the changes to turn 5. That's a great overtaking opportunity. And then of course you got turn 6 around that, not really turn 7, heading up into that really fast left-hander, which if I'm not mistaken is slightly banked.
It is slightly banked. It means that if you're on the outside line, the track kind of gives you a better exit down towards 10, 11, and 12, but they are not the easiest corners to go side by side. But before we get into the session, let's take a quick look at the standings here, because we had a 2-horse race, really, in Div 1, but in Div 2, we've got a few more drivers up there. Rapid OG has a relatively comfortable margin of 19 points to Craggy's in the McLaren, but from there, I mean, Josh, Shane's in there, Beast is in there, Halo's in there. A couple of good results from some of those guys just outside the top 3 could really shoot them into contention.
Honestly, I reckon you could probably roll a 6-sided dice, and whoever it lands on could potentially be the champion. Of course, we're only halfway through the season, but we're all so close, as you mentioned, and all of them seem to be able to pick up the scraps where other drivers end up dropping off, not having a great race. I mean, let's say, for example, around Zandvoort, right? It wasn't a great race for a couple of the drivers, but we saw then and there, both in Tier 1 and Tier 2, that all the drivers were able to pick up points where their competitors weren't able to. And it was absolutely fantastic just knowing that regardless of how split the field might seem at any given point, all the drivers are still there, they're all still competing, they're all still giving it their all to really try and move themselves up this standings tower, because at the end of the day, every single one that wants to be in the position Rapid OG is in, where they're leading the championship at the moment. But it's got to be one of those things where there's only one spot, and we've got so many drivers, we've got 20 drivers all trying to compete to grab that spot. There's going to have to be a little bit of luck involved. Might be a bit of unfortunate circumstances for some other drivers, but at the end of the day, I feel like almost anyone could still compete for this.
Yeah, I think going to be really interesting all the way through now to really see where the drivers can pick up points. It helps for some of these guys that over the course of the season, if you take all 8 pole positions, all 10 pole positions, you're going to pick up 80 points. It's a massive chunk. I mean, it's a really interesting factor that you don't get really anywhere else. And what makes PRL really intriguing in terms of the points is that, you know, there are 33 points, 34 points, I should say, up for grabs every single race. But you need to perform in both qualifying and the race to really optimize, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see a couple other divisions out there in the F1 community saying, hey, you know what, it's okay, we'll turn Parc Ferme off, you're more than welcome to use a qualifying setup and a race setup. But these drivers don't have the luxury. They've got to try and balance their setup to be able to try and maximise the amount of points in qualifying in their starting position, and also carry it across to maintaining the tyres, maintaining the fuel, and making it a raceable setup. Because being quick is one thing, but also guaranteeing yourself a raceable setup where you're able to actually make moves, you are able to sort of challenge yourself to go slightly further up the order, is oh so important, especially when you look at a league as competitive as PRL, especially in Tier 2.
Yeah, there's so many drivers, really, that are going to be fighting this one out. As we now see a couple of drivers coming out of the pit lane, of course, the very fun pit lane that we have here at Abu Dhabi. Of course, you have to wind your way underneath turn 1 and emerge at turn 3. So, you know, you said you love it. I quite enjoy it. I think it's a really nice little addition that you don't really get anywhere else. But just Komi-san, he's the first one out. No one's rushing out, though. They seem okay to just make sure they get their setups on, get everything ready, and then head out on track.
Yep, all on the soft tyres as well. No one's trying to play any sort of games. No one's going on that medium compound we quite often see where they give a couple little prenup laps, a little bit of a warm-up, a little bit of a mojo builder before trying to absolutely fly it on the soft tyre. And, you know, around a circuit like Yas Marina, there's so few points on the circuit where you're really applying full brakes, trying to get that car slowed down as quick as possible. Because of the new changes, it reduces the overtaking opportunities, but it also reduces the amount of time you can really try and catch up to a couple of these drivers who might be setting blistering lap times. I'm expecting this qualifying to be relatively close.
Yeah, so am I, because I think it's a track where, you know, you can gain and lose time in areas, but if you've got a good straight line car, you're going to pick up that time down between 5 and 6, down between 7 and 9, and then if you've got a more downforce centered setup, you're going to be gaining in this final sector, where a lot of the corners at 90 degrees or so. Just Komi-san, though, starting his lap time, diving his way through turn 1. Difficult to get right, isn't it? And it can really set up your lap really well if you nail it first off.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're thinking about getting the X out at turn 1. That's going to be carrying your speed through turns 2, 3, 4, all the way into this hairpin here. It's critical that they're able to get the traction down, able to get the rubber spinning, be able to get that car pointing the right direction as soon as possible to be able to make it to the hairpin at a rapid rate of knots, as we see Komi-san with the DRS wide open, storming all the way down here to the chicane, trying to be as late on the brakes as possible, looking towards about the 90 metres, just after 100 metre braking board is where you want to slam on the brakes, flick it over to the left, flick it back over to the right, and straighten the car up once again for this second DRS straight here. I'll tell you what, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of Abu Dhabi, Darragh, but for me, it's got to be one of my favourite circuits to watch cars go around.
Yeah. I agree. It's a fantastic, and to drive as well. I think it's a fantastic circuit. You get a really nice feel for it, particularly after these track changes have come into effect. You can really feel the car flow, particularly in this final sector where we're seeing just Komi-san come through now. So I really do think they've done a good job in terms of the additions they've made to the track, all the changes that they've done, and yeah, for racing as well, we often get some fantastic races around here with overtaking spots all the way through the lap. Just Komi-san, the benchmark at 23.3. That's what they're all chasing, as Patty Pad will be one of the next drivers to cross the line. But, you know, there's probably time to find there for Just Komi-san, but it's a good benchmark.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned about a couple of those, you know, fantastic battles we've seen around this circuit with the changes. I mean, think back to even when we didn't have the changes and we had, you know, Lewis Hamilton trying to hold up Nico Rosberg to win in the championship in 2016. We all know how that went. Believe it or not, Nico Rosberg beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery. Surprise, surprise. But no, you know, it's certainly been a host of an array of fantastic races. And for me, it doesn't necessarily get the praise it deserves. Yes, it's ended up coming in, sort of shipping Interlagos off as, you know, the final round of the season, which, again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but at the same time, as a racetrack and as it goes, it creates great qualifying, it creates a brilliant race. I don't feel like you could ask too much more for a finale.
Oh, exactly, and I do think it's a fantastic circuit, and it really does provide us with some fantastic racing action. Tuga has topped the timesheet. That's a good time, 22.7, especially for a banker, as we now see Halo coming around that final corner to the line. P5, 23.4, but then Rapid OG, 22.8. That's why he's in that championship battle.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's able to direct that car whichever way he wants. Doesn't matter where it seems to be around the world, whether it's over in Imola, whether it's, you know, Portimao, Abu Dhabi. He's always able to extract something out of the car, and I feel like that's the reason why we're seeing him do so well in this tier, in PRL. It's because he's always consistently there, and, you know, at the end of the day, we can say it as often as we want, but it really drives home the fact that consistency for these cars and consistency for these drivers is absolutely key to being able to get a good run in the standings.
It is, and in such a short season as well, only the 10 rounds, these guys, no room for error as we make our way through, especially now, as after this race, 4 more to go, as we have just crossed the halfway point. CJQ's retired, and he's up in P3. I think he's crashed there. I think they may have been in contact with the Haas.
Yeah, that has been. You can see CJQ on the minimap there in the penultimate corner. His little dot was standing still, so perhaps he's had a little bit of an incident getting caught up there with the Haas, which of course is going to give the Haas a 5-place grid penalty for that as well. Probably not deserved. Let's be quite honest. We know the features of this game, F1 23. It's a fantastic game. Would recommend trying on EA Pro though.
Yes, I would.
Especially with a new one coming out. If you're somewhat interested in Formula 1, give it a go. Give it a trial run. And wait for the new game. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, new game's coming out earlier than it ever has, isn't it? So, got to keep your eyes out for that. I mean, I'm sure PRL will be going strong for Season 13 on F1 24. Poloski goes up into P7, the Mercedes driver. Not a bad time. I mean, we've had 12 so far, so about mid range of what we've had. Alberto Maracucho, a man who is definitely in contention for one of the best names on the grid. He's looking to set his first lap time, and in that Williams are going to be wanting some points in this race because I think they've struggled so far.
Yeah, struggled a little bit. You know, crazy I do it, not crazy idiot as we was calling him before. We've learned to read, let's say. You know, they've not necessarily got off to the greatest foot during the first half of the season. You know, they took a little bit of building in, but we saw little sparks and little glimpses of their true pace throughout that entire first half of the season. There were moments where you sort of sat back, you looked, and you thought, well, okay, they're able to do this here. How come we're not able to carry a little bit more speed around? And it very much sort of fell onto just an overall lack of consistency. Again, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but being able to make sure you're dialed in not only for the qualifying, but for the race. You don't want to prioritise too heavily in the race because you just leave it all to do in the race. Then all it takes is one driver, you clip a front wing, end of the day, that could be your race over unless there's a safety car. And even then it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's never nice finding your way back through, but sometimes you got to do it, and sometimes if you stick around, you're in it to win it. And I've seen before a couple of drivers who have run around in 16th, 17th, a long way off the field for 20 laps. There's a safety car. They come in for a fresh set of softs, and they manage to get themselves a nice result inside the top 10. So there's always chances wherever you are. Beast is on a lap. He's another driver we've seen a lot of so far this season. Bit of a wide line into turn 5, optimising that exit. With these corner changes, I think it's something we haven't really touched on. It's really good to see so many different lines being taken in these corners, because there are lots of different ways to get around in really quite quick times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the track gets a little bit of shtick here for not being the most creative circuit out there. But it's the way the drivers race it, which makes it creative. And I feel like that adds to the beauty of the circuit, right? It's very much like a Paul Ricard for the final sector. Go any which way. Doesn't really matter how you do it. You've just got to get through there as quick as you feel like you can. And because a lot of these corners, you know, they're somewhat awkward cambers. A couple of them are banked very quick, very fast-flowing apexes where you're trying to size it up, trying to get the best exit possible. It's very much down to the driver's driving style to be able to maximise their speed through the corners, make sure they get a solid enough exit. We'll see quite a few other cars, not necessarily taking the same line as Beast through there. Certainly not the same line there, because he's just invalidated his lap time. I feel like I might have commentator cursed him there, but wouldn't be the first one I commentator cursed here at PRL, would it? But, you know, swiftly moving on from that, trying to get back to the point at hand. There's so many different ways you can somewhat challenge the circuit to really be able to maximise it. We can see drivers push it a little bit hard to get a little bit closer to the barriers. And then on the other hand, we see drivers taking a more reserved line where you don't necessarily think they're carrying too much apex speed, but because they're not carrying so much apex speed, they're able to get on the traction that little bit sooner, and it gives them a little bit of a propelled run up towards the straight, let's say. I was about to say the start-finish straight because I just watched Komi-san put in a brilliant lap time to move him up into P4.
Yeah, I mean, it is a nice lap time. Still, though, half a second off of Tuga's time, it just shows how good that was from him in the Red Bull. Oliver Sequeira not going to be improving on this lap a long way down and into the pit lane. So I think we're kind of in this area where there aren't too many drivers on lap times before we get towards our final runs. But Alfredo is, and Alfredo goes P9, about middle of the road at the moment in his Aston Martin. Cruz Steamers, his teammate, a little bit further down. So Aston Martin, they're going to be looking for a little bit more. Rapid Gopher in the Haas, looking for a nice result as well. He's kind of under pressure now. This lap time should see him do relatively well, as there is a wheel in that penultimate corner. But he's kind of put a little bit of pressure on himself as he goes P4, because now he's only really got time for one more run.
It was all that medium lap prep. I tell you, you know, some people might sit there and think, you know, it's probably not the best idea to go out and use a set of mediums, get yourself dialed into a circuit. I say, most people, they've just not raced at the same sort of level as these drivers. Going out on a set of mediums, get yourself reintegrated with the circuit, with the game, just building a little bit of confidence before you go out on a soft compound tyre. You can really push for limits, you can really try and challenge yourself into those braking zones, into the traction zones, and try and maximise that entire tyre differential. Not only that as well, but it kind of gives you a little bit of a prelude to what you can expect from that compound during a race. There's a lot of information you can pick up by going for a couple of these somewhat scrappier runs, and, well, it certainly worked out pretty well for Rapid Gopher, as we see Crazy Eye do it there, hopping himself up into P5, but Halo looks to be on a very quick lap time at the minute.
He does look like he's on a good lap time. Let's see how this goes for him. I mean, you were talking about the medium tyres. I know some drivers, particularly in a full qualifying session, who will do their first runs in Q1 on an Inter, just to get themselves dialed into the track, make sure they know their turning points without really using any of the tyres. But, you know, each for their own. Doesn't really work in a short qualifying. Halo goes P6 in the end. A nice improvement just in front of just Komi-san. Poloski was starting a lap time there. I didn't know if he was improving, but in the end, stays where he is. Mythbusters. Now, I touched on Haas needing some points. They've done well this season, but they are only P7 in the championship, and they are going to be looking for a good end to the season. Mythbusters, P10. I mean, it's a good improvement. Probably wants a little bit more, though.
Yes, absolutely. And right behind him as well, he's going to have to keep an eye out as we see Tuga there, improving the lap time once again to a 22.5. Absolutely phenomenal lap time there from Tuga 2016. I'll tell you what, I mentioned Nico Rosberg, person with 2016 of username wins. I don't think it's a coincidence, Darragh. I feel like we might have scripted this one.
Well,
I feel it. I feel it deep in my bones, but Rapid Gopher's going to do everything he possibly can to mould the script around him. Let's, I'll tell you what, let's ride on board, see how well he's going to be able to take this one. He doesn't opt to pick up any slipstream again. Looking there for about 90 metres towards the left hand. It's imperative he keeps away from that first curb so he can try and clunk that second one as much as possible before running out here to the left-hand side. Now tucking it over to the left, making sure he's minimising the entire track distance before sweeping it back over towards the right-hand side to optimise that line so he doesn't have to use as much steering angle, but you can see he runs slightly high but back on the power. Ridiculously quick, Darragh.
Yeah, it's looking fantastic here for Rapid OG. Of course, he's looking to gain on Tugo, a name we haven't really seen so far. Oh, sorry, I've just...
Oh dear.
Dropped my mic on myself there. No, that was... I just dropped my mic on myself. That was what it was. Rapid OG come around the final couple of corners, passing that wheel that's just static on the side of the road. I think it's in midair. He won't care. He's trying to go for pole. Can he get it? Oh, not quite. I mean, those two, they're half a second clear, but there's 15 thousandths between them. It is tight at the top.
It is very, very close between those two, isn't it? Surely you would think one of them's just going to try something a little bit different, maybe try a different bit of a run plan, maybe go about an extra mile to really try and nab a little bit of extra delta time from track conditions. But 4 minutes left to go in the session, you would have to think drivers out on circuit now are going to be diving it back into the pits relatively quickly so we can get that final lap sorted. I really do love that camera angle around the penultimate corner, by the way. Showing the racetrack even when they're going into the pits. Someone's got to fire the cameraman. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Got to be careful what you say. You know, EA, they're listening.
No.
But yeah, everyone coming into the pit lane. Polowski's not on a lap. I don't think Beast is either. We definitely know that Rapid OG isn't on a lap. Just Komi-san's coming out for his final runs. But we are kind of waiting at the moment, aren't we, for everyone to come out for that final set of runs. And I think there's a few drivers really looking for some improvements. Vintage hasn't got a lap time on the board. Monster, we know he can go faster than that. So I think some of these drivers are under pressure now.
Yeah, as well. Patty Pat, he had a fantastic race last time out. It was up there around Zandvoort, I do believe, when he was, you know, really in contention for a potential podium battle. And he ended up getting caught up in a collision. And it was a little bit of carnage for him. And he couldn't necessarily really produce the result he was hoping for because of that. I don't believe he could participate in Austria. But he's back here again, Abu Dhabi, looking to try and get that Alpine car to work in his favour. Currently in P16, but we know he can go so much quicker.
He can, but I think it's going to be a bit of a flurry of action, isn't it, when everyone comes out of the pit lane? Because, of course, when it comes down to these last minutes, a minute or two, everyone is going to be on a lap. You've got to be so careful, especially if you invalidate your lap and you back off. You've got to be so careful not to block everybody because they are going to be flying through around you. And you've just got to be on your toes and so aware of everything that is going on. But here comes just Komi-san. There's only a couple of drivers out on the circuit, but I think he is going to meet a hell of a lot of traffic if you look at the mini-map. Now running through turn one, how many is it? It's going to be at least 5 cars in the next corner. He's going to have to be so careful. These guys are going to have to get out of the way. There goes the Red Bull, but it's not looking too comfortable, is it?
No, it's certainly going to be a bit of a squeaky bum time here for Komi-san, hoping all of them are able to move out of his way, or at least offer him a little bit of a tow heading down this straight, just so he can pick up an extra couple kph a little bit quicker than he would necessarily like. But you can see the cars there almost everywhere. Regardless of if they move out of the way or not, they're going to cause an absolute distraction one way or another. And we see the Aston Martin failing to get out of the way, causes a collision. Komi-san's lap time, it's not looking great, and he's got no end plate on the front right hand side of that Ferrari car. So that's the 69 Ferrari out of contention for pole position here.
Yeah, I don't know which Aston Martin it was, but I think they're going to have to be worried about being reported to the stewards for that one. You might not see them in qualifying next time out. Patty Pat on his outlap. A lot of these drivers just going round at the moment. I think the first lap time will be from SSR Halo, because he's just started his next flying lap. And he's a little ways ahead of anybody else, and he's improving a lot in that. No, that was just the glitch. He's improving a little bit in the first section, not a lot.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, still a little bit at the end of the day, Darragh. It's all about the marginal gains for these drivers trying to maximise their potential around this circuit. But he will have a clean track. He doesn't need to worry about hitting the rear of an Aston Martin heading into the braking zone. So it's going to be very interesting to sort of see how the track evolution's played out here for SSR Halo, because you can expect him to somewhat improve his lap time, but you've got to think, the deeper we go into the night around the Yas Marina Bay, the colder the track's going to get. Is that going to pay dividends towards the tyres, or is he going to come back as a little bit of a punishment? I feel like only time's going to be able to tell, as he loses a little bit of time there in Sector 2, so he's left it all up to do in this final sector here. High downforce, it could be looking very swell. Low downforce, maybe not as swell.
Yeah, it's really down to the drivers exactly which way they take their strategy in terms of the setup. So it's going to be interesting just to see which ways each driver has gone, and we'll be able to see that a little bit more clearly as we go in towards the race. But final corner now for SSR Halo. A few driver sessions have come to an end, and Halo's ends with him sitting in P3. A lot of drivers, though, still to cross the line as they have spread out a little bit after being very, very close under their outlaps. But yeah, look at these guys really close together. I think Alberto Maracuccio will be next as he comes down the final corner. But there's going to be times flying in. Alberto Maracuccio, P14. The McLaren on track. Craggy's P3.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just staying on board here with Crazy I Do because he picked up an absolute wonderful toe down both the straights, but you can see he's really started to struggle with the dirty air being stuck behind Red Bull. It's a bit of a trade-off you end up paying in qualifying, but it is still a stellar lap time, moving himself there up into P3. Real question is, where's Rapid OG and where is Tuga? Tuga's slightly ahead on the track. So, potential for Rapid OG to nab himself a pole position here by just being in a slightly better part of the track, slightly more rubbered in comparison, because we still have a couple more of these drivers still yet to see their lap times, with Alfredo here supposedly coming around the final corner, but he's dove it back into the pit lane. What about Monster? Diving it back into the pit lane as well. So I guess all eyes will be on Tuga, heading up towards the start-finish line. Doesn't improve his lap time. What about Rapid OG? He's found a little bit of time, but he's been able to grab pole position right at the dying embers there of the qualifying session. Last driver to cross the line, and he's managed to get himself the pole with a 1:22.421. I mean, we thought a 0.5 was a fantastic lap time. Rapid OG just raising the bar once again.
It's the best way to get pole, isn't it? When you go fastest with the last time across the line, no one can improve. Because there's no one left to finish their session. So fantastic timing, fantastic time from Rapid OG, and he will take pole. But the top two, they look like they're in a little bit of a class of their own. But we saw yesterday, the strategy is very, very open, and we could see this go quite a lot of different ways in this race. But here are your classified results from qualifying. Rapid Gover's picked up a 5-place grid penalty in the meantime, so I think he's going to have to start from P15. Rapid OG, though, on pole by a 10th to Tuga. Crazy I'd Do It in P3. Fantastic result for the Williams team. Craggy's in 4th, with Halo and Oliver Sequeira putting themselves on the 3rd row. CJQ, an early retirement from the session after the crash, but still manages to get 7th, with Missbusters, Pelosi and Rapid Gopher finishing in the top 10, but he might start a little bit further back. RL Beast, just Komi-san, Don Moore and Patty Pat, maybe a little bit surprisingly down there in P14. He's just ahead of Alfredo, who is in his Aston Martin. Alberto Maracuccio, Crew Steamers, Monster, and Vintage AR5 are the 19 drivers who will take to the green flag. But Josh, I mean, this really does line up an interesting race, because, like I said, strategy can go any of really like 5-6 ways here. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, it certainly will be, especially considering CJQ is able to put in such a solid lap time at the start of a session. Of course, got caught up there, lost a wheel, which I hope has finally been moved, considering it's the next day in the game. But, you know, I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to do from P7 on the grid. Showing he had the pace earlier in the qualifying session, he could have been in contention for a potential pole position here as well. So it's going to be interesting seeing where he's going to be able to worm that little McLaren car up through the field. Also, Beast, Komi-san, drivers we're not used to seeing outside the top 10. It's going to be interesting how they're going to be able to cope with the pressure of drivers trying, you know, riskier moves, bolder moves, having a lot less to lose than these two drivers, really trying to move themselves up the standings. So we're going to see some, you know, ridiculous moves, some sends going into quarters. I'm excited for this one.
It really kind of opens the door for some possibilities here, so I'm looking forward to this race. It's a track, Abu Dhabi, where we often see a lot of action take place, but we're not quite yet getting ready to go. Of course, the game has removed that 30-second timer for spectators since F1 22, which is a fantastic addition to us for us commentators. It means we know even less now when
it's
the
a mystery
is going to get going. It is, isn't it? It keeps us right on our toes. But thankfully, we're going to have a formation lap. Which
Thank
means
the Lord.
It's all nice and calm. But we can look at the tyres, mix the strategies.
Absolutely. You mentioned it. You alluded to it. Strategy can go 5 ways. I'll tell you what, it might even be seeing a special sixth one if we see a safety car pop out of nowhere. But something very critical to notice here. Both the Ferraris in P10 and P11 have both opted to start on that hard compound tyre. Could get a little bit awkward if a safety car's called for them. Which one of them's going to end up biting the bullet, staying out for an extra lap? Which one's going to be able to take advantage of it? Surely you would consider Beast, being the full-time Ferrari driver, would be able to take precedence there, but it might just be a case of whichever driver's in front at the end of the day.
Yeah, but even then, the double stack isn't horrendous as it used to be. I mean, you do still lose a couple of seconds, but we're talking 2-3, not the 10 that you would back on the likes of F1 2017 if anybody else is young enough to hark back to those good old days. But yeah, it's interesting because we've got those tight guys. We've got the two McLarens up there. We've got the two Ferraris, as you mentioned, not too far away either. A few teams a little bit more spread out, but even further back, you've got the two Aston Martins relatively close. So there's always that risk of you get too close to your teammate. There is that problem in the pit lane. But for these guys at the moment, they're going to be focusing on getting a good start and really being ahead of their teammate to have the prerogative.
Absolutely. The only driver on the grid who won't be at fault to that is, of course, going to be Patty Pat, the sole Alpine car out on circuit. You know, I'm not going to say it's an advantage to be alone, especially around a circuit like Abu Dhabi. You do want a teammate where you can trade a little bit of DRS, you can save a little bit of battery being behind them, you can somewhat work together to try and make your way through the pack. It could very much be a long day in the office for Patty Pat here, not necessarily having a teammate. As you see Rapid OG take an alternate line there through the final corner. Surely just maybe got a bit distracted by the fans, wanted to go and have a cheeky little wave. But we are going to see these drivers start filing up into their grid boxes now. And you would have to expect Crazy I Do It in P3 on that hard compound tyre might be in a bit of trouble heading down into turn 1 if he doesn't get a perfect launch.
It's true, but of course there is that element of the fact that it's not a very long run towards turn 1. But here we go, everyone lining up onto the grid, setting into position. Halo is out of position, so he will drop down as the timing page has a little bit of a moment. But here we go, 5 red lights. It's tier 2, the second half of the season in PRL is underway. Rapid OG leads us. Can Tuga get the start to try and lead in towards turn 1? I think they're going to be side by side. The Red Bull trying it up the inside, but Rapid OG sweeps around the outside and off the track. A contact between Crazy I Do It and Craggies. That means that those two are dropping a few positions as we now see Halo come around the outside. Oh, they're 3 wide through turn 3. You don't see that very often as they now dive their way towards turn 5. Are they all going to emerge pointing in the right direction? It looks at the top guys driving very nicely through turn 5, jostling for position. Fantastic start though for Rapid OG. Tuga's got away from Craggies with the incidents behind, but what a start for these guys.
Yes, absolutely. Not only that, but CJQ has been able to jump himself up for a moment there up into P5, but he's just fallen back down because Crazy Idea was able to just get a slightly cleaner exit heading through the hairpin. But we're seeing moves all across the shop here from each and every single one of these drivers, and even a yellow flag there in sector 2 for Cruise Team is towards the back of the field on that soft compound tyre. Hopefully he's not picked up any damage because that could be absolutely detrimental to his race, but we are going to see these drivers following each other very closely here through this final sector. And I feel like it's going to be a great opportunity to really point out how much the dirty air can still affect these cars. Despite having ground effects, you can still see they've got a little bit of a waft of dirty air. It's very much difficult for the cars following to necessarily get a turn in towards a lot of these apexes. You will see him run out wide, as Crazy I Do It brilliantly demonstrates there for us. Crazy, you don't need to do that one again. We've demonstrated it once. Thank you, mate.
Well, we'll see if he does do it again, but it can be difficult, especially after doing a qualifying session, just to be sat on that dirty air and you go, whoa, because the car isn't responding exactly how you expect it to. But either way, these guys soldier on. Rapid OG and Tuga, they're kind of pulling Craggies along at the moment, but Craggies is breaking away himself from SSR Halo, so you know, it's the train's breaking early on. There's still battles in behind. You look at Beast coming through on Mythbusters, I think, down in towards turn 5, as they're finding out. Rapid Gopher's just sitting in behind these two as well. But RRL Beast on that hard compound tyre, making it work for the moment. But look at the soft shot Rapid Gopher. Can he try and make the double overtake using some ERS? I'm sure as he will come down the inside here at turn 6. He's late on the brakes, but not late enough to make the move on his teammate. RLB still defending and will fend off Gopher for now, but some great battling here on lap 2.
Absolutely, and if this is a President's fault we're going to see throughout the rest of this race, imagine what we're going to have happen once we open up the DRS, once we start getting these opportunities for these drivers to really try and fly past on the straight, going side by side into braking zones. I could picture this being absolutely fantastic, but we will just make a quick note. Halo losing a little bit of touch there to Crackers as well. We know the front two are pulling out, despite what the interval's telling us that we're 1 minute and 25 seconds ahead. That's not quite the case. As I mentioned, Halo seemed to be struggling. He's had a little bit of a waver there, hasn't he? He's had a little bit of a moment, a little bump to the wall, but hopefully he's not picked up any damage there. He will lose a couple of positions, allowing Mythbusters to slide himself up there into P8 as well. But you've got to think Halo, he's just got to get his head back in control, understand sometimes it happens, it's not the end of the world. He's really got to try and hone himself back into a couple of these positions, as we will see the soft compound runners of Rapid Gopher lucky to get a couple cheeky moves sorted on Beast, but Beast is having absolutely none of it at the minute, Darragh.
I mean, it goes back to the old adage that there is a long way to go and anything can happen. So that is definitely what he's going to be thinking about as they run in towards turn 5. That is Patty Pat trying to recover after his poor qualifying result, but he's losing out to Donmore, who's just steamed around the outside in his Alfa Romeo, but they're going to be fighting away as just Komi-san is about to join the party, and don't count out Monster either as he looks for the move, but inside for Patty Pat here, is there a Mercedes on the inside? No, thankfully Monster has kept it out of the side, but just Komi-san dropping down as he fights away with Donmore, so the battle isn't over yet down here, just outside of the top 10 out of the championship points. But, I mean, they're still fighting away hard. Rapid Gopher having to defend, or attack, sorry, SSR Halo as he's just continuing his poor lap or so. But some fantastic action early on. All whilst this is going on, the top two are clear away. 2.5 seconds is the gap.
Absolutely. We've got a fantastic battle towards the rear of the field, but you will have to just keep an eye out for those gaps. Currently got Mythbusters on the back of Poloski about 2 seconds, and Craggy's there, after picking up a 3-second time penalty, is off the back of Tuga and Rapid OG. Those two have just been in a league of their own at the minute, haven't they? As we do see, once again, Halo having a little sideways moment, losing a little bit more pace. Beast is able to make a move this time before turn 1. Absolutely critical to try and keep himself in the best optimal position to be able to really try and go on the offensive heading into that hairpin. It is a great overtaking opportunity, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to see Patty Pat try something here. Try a little bit of his magic.
Let's see if he will try a bit of his magic, or whether magic will be tried upon him by Monster. I think he's just going to sit in behind the Mercedes driver, not going to get a very good exit either out of turn 5, and will invite some pressure possibly from the Ferrari of just Komi-san. But actually, he's on the offensive down towards turn 6. Meanwhile, Rapid Gopher is trying to look at his teammate Mythbusters as they get in towards turn 6. Monster in the end sitting in behind Patty Pat. There are the two real gaps at the moment, aren't there? Between 2nd and 3rd, Rapid and Craggies, and then 7th and 8th, Poloski and Mythbusters. The rest of the drivers are in trains as it stands, but if you get disconnected from a train this early on, it can be very dangerous to try and get back inside. Still fighting side by side. Just Komi-san dancing around the outside of Monster. Can he make this one stick? You bet he can. Fantastic move from the Ferrari. Absolutely
Brilliant. Rapid Gopher also sliding his way up into P8. And also down that long straight, we saw Tuga and Rapid OG swap positions. It's that tactical from Rapid OG. Does he want to let Tuga end up leading this race for a little bit, just so he can try and save a little bit of the battery? Because at the minute, it does certainly look like Tuga's deploying a lot of his batteries trying to pull away from Rapid OG. And we can still see Rapid's got well in store of over half of his battery left to deploy to hold on to the back of Tuga. He's just going to be looking for that DRS to really pick him up and carry a little extra KPH down the straight, really, I think, for probably the remainder of this first split. He doesn't really have to push it too hard. He's just got to make sure he stays within touch, uses the DRS, pulls himself along. It's very much like having a little winch on the back of your car, isn't it? And just getting towed in all the way down these straights, not necessarily wanting to get past them, but when an opportunity will come up like that, when we do have an opportunity to pull away from the rest of the field, you'd be dumb not to take it.
Would be, I mean, difficult at the moment, isn't it, for all of these guys? They make their way through 3 wide, I believe. Oh, there's contact, there's Beast involved in it, as you can see him being able to ghost his way back through a couple of the drivers, so a little bit lucky in that regard. Rapid's going to get through on 2 with the DRS. These guys still fighting away. Craggies and I do it fighting away at turn 9 as well, but we're looking at Patty Pat fighting with Halo up the inside. He's gone a little bit deep though. Halo back up the inside, looks like he's going to retake that position, and through comes just Komi-san as well. Some fantastic fighting. We're only on lap 5 of 29, but these guys really fighting hammer and tong.
Yeah, these aren't looking to save up too much battery, are they? They're looking to just make moves any which way possible. You see Patty Pat there with a very, very late move up to the inside. Just Komi-san getting off the worst of that, and not only losing a position to Patty Pat, who sent that very brave, very audacious dive to the inside, but Donmore has managed to sneak his way through there. They're going to be potentially heading side by side all the way down into turn 1, which of course isn't optimal, but at the end of the day, Racing is very limited when it comes to optional opportunities, so you've got to make the most of where it counts. But you've got to think now, Dunmore might be feeling a little bit vulnerable, and as I say that, he's facing the wrong way.
It was a fantastic move from Just Coming Down at turn 1, but we've gone away without a safety car in this race. Here comes Crazy I Do It on Craggies. Easy as you like, thank you very much. I will take that provisional podium position. He's in a good position, you know, Crazy I Do It, on the hard compounded tyre if there isn't a safety car. If there is a safety car, he might be in a little bit of trouble, but as it is, he's looking relatively good at the moment. Here comes Rapid OG, DRS, straight past Tuga. These two working well at the front.
Easy as you like, isn't it, when you work together with these guys? Very much open and happy to trade a little bit of DRS, not necessarily fighting hammer and tongue. They understand the position we're in. They understand Crazy's position as well. What Crazy's going to be looking to do is keep the pace consistent, be able to keep catching up to the two guys, or at least try and hold on, and not necessarily let the gap grow. And once those medium tyres hit their cliff and those hards become more and more efficient, and the tyre to be on, that's when they're going to have to really start considering, right, okay, when do we pit? Crazy's catching us. We can't keep DRS trading. It's not going to work out as efficiently as we want. Oh, hello, Mercedes. Safety car. I'm not too sure what happened there. Was that Monster? That was Monster.
We could have a look and see if they're losing any front wing.
Yeah, they are.
Not because the game's giving us a fantastic...
They
yeah,
are, they are.
Just about to see.
Wow.
That'll be why we've got a safety car. It's slightly annoying, though, that we've got a safety car. The strategy battle was looking like it was going to really become quite interesting. Hards, and then get to the end here. I mean, it's going to be close, I reckon.
I reckon they might be able to get to the end. You know, they're not going to be by far, you know, the best sort of tyre, but you've got to somewhat consider now, right? For these drivers still out on track on that hard compound tyre, do they take a gamble? Do they take a risk and consider another safety car coming out? Because Crazy I Do It, he's not in the best position with his safety car by no means, right? He wouldn't really be able to make a pit stop over to the mediums, make him last the end of the race. So I can expect Crazy to maybe consider darting in for 2 pairs of softs, or try and stick it out a little bit, retain track position, and understand, you know, at the end of the day, he's looking to keep his podium. The best thing he could do, hold on to the track position, be a little bit of pain in the backside to the rest of the drivers, especially through this final sector. Really, you know, give his best Sergio Perez impression, which I say in a very good term for once.
It's not normally the nicest thing you say to somebody.
No. I would normally... Oh, okay. In the pits. What tyres are he going to go on to?
I reckon he's either going to do a medium from here, which I think would be the most sensible, or maybe even try medium soft. I think he's in a relatively good position as well, because he will be on the fastest tyres all the way to the end of the race. Because I can't see him pitting again. He's gone on to mediums, yes. Oh, yeah, Beast stays out. That's, maybe it's because he didn't want to lose time behind Just Komi-san, but...
But he had the option to pit first. He was ahead of Komi-san.
AI? Not too sure.
Maybe. Or maybe he just wants to be a bit of a pain in the backside. Remind these front runners that he's still in contention. He wants to show what he's got. Maybe if he feels like he's got such low wings, he'll be able to somewhat maintain a little bit of a distance heading down the straight to keep a little bit of a buffer. So when he ends up backing the cars up in the corner, he'll inevitably end up being able to hold on to his position. It could certainly be interesting, but we're going to have to wait and see, because this safety car is going to be tootling around what feels like 2 miles an hour for these Formula 1 cars, doesn't it?
It feels very, very... I mean, if you were doing this in a road car, if you were doing this in my little Ford Fiesta, I'd be feeling like I am flying. I mean, it's an old Ford Fiesta, and you're sitting about... not very far off the ground. And going any speed feels fast. So going this fast would feel insane. But when you're sitting in a cockpit of an F1 car, and you're normally taking some of these corners at 150 plus miles an hour, it feels like a walking pace. It feels slow, it feels laborious, the car's not moving, you want to go faster.
Beast is trying to push for safety car.
Trying to make him go faster.
Right. Darragh,
I've seen that before.
I've got a question, right? From Fiesta owner to Fiesta owner, right? Does your Fiesta's rear start squeaking when you hit 60?
No.
Right, I need to get my checked there.
I think once we finish this, we're going to have to compare Fiestas.
Yes.
But mine struggles to do 70. Fun fact. Anyway, we're on lap 8 of 29. Make that lap 9 of 29 as the safety car crosses the line. And no one else really looking like they're coming into box this time around. So I think... Oh, actually, as I say that, Cruz Stevens is coming in. But I think even still, he'll be able to catch to the back of the pack. Safety car, fingers crossed, should be in this lap.
Easy work, surely. But the question still remains, crazy how to do it on a set of medium tyres. He's going to have to make moves on these front two. And we've seen they've got the pace. But we've not seen too much racecraft. Yes, they were swapping DRS, but we've not seen them defend. We've not seen them go on the offensive necessarily. How are they going to be able to hold up when they know there's a driver on better tyres behind them, looking to desperately try and make a move to secure himself a better position towards the end of the race? Because surely, Crazy going on a two-stop strategy, he might be out of contention for a race win here, but he can certainly very much still hold on to a podium. It just very much depends on what the rest of the drivers around him decide to do. It's not really in his control anymore.
I think another safety car might help him out because he might be able to gain a position or two right now. I mean, granted, Rapido G and Tuga, they've been very quick, but on that medium tyre, he might be able to sneak another position. If another safety car comes out in, let's say, 5 laps' time, you're going to bet your bottom dollar that everyone else is going to come in again and fit the medium tyre to go to the end, and then he will be exactly where he would be. Maybe P3, P2 kind of position, maybe even P1, depends what happens with Rapid Beast and whether he helps to maybe skittle a couple of the top two out his older hard tyres. Either way, safety car is in this lap as... I do not know what Beast is doing. He's gone wide off the track on the safety car. He's hit the safety car. It's been a bit of an exciting 2 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's just having a little bit of a jest at the minute. I think he's trying to take it a little bit easier, not necessarily worrying, understanding what position he's in. Older tyres, he's going to find it very, very difficult to hold on to this race lead, so I believe he might just be trying to size up and maybe try and psych out Rapid and Tuga behind.
Yeah, but let's see. Safety car restart is about to get underway. Beast is not hanging around, too much. And there... Oh, I thought he went there. I think Rapido G might have as well. But either way, there goes Beast now. He's missed the final corner by 1.5 miles. And Rapido G is going to see that. Think he's got a very good chance to make the move. Maybe down in towards turn 5. Turn 1, he gets so close. You can see the speed in the middle of the corner. He's having to back off as he runs in towards turn 2 because he has that much overspeed on the Ferrari. Let's see though, inside line, outside line is what he's electing for. In towards turn 5. Can he pull this one off? You'd think he can. Tiptoeing his way around, getting the exit. Up into P1 goes Rapido G, and around the outside goes Tuga for P2.
Yep, absolutely brilliant move. Trying to hang it around the outside. Maybe a little bit off track limits, but at the end of the day, he did make the move stick, but he's had to return the position, I believe, to Beast. And Beast now, having a little look towards the inside as well, having the car slide itself in, he's been able to regain the lead on those 9-lap-old hard tyres. Fantastic little bit of racecraft, understanding that he can brake a little bit later, he can slide his tyres, he doesn't have to look after him anymore. He knows he's just got to really try and back up the fields. He certainly did a fantastic job in that first sector, and I'm sure if we ride on board here Rapido G, we can see Rapid looking to try and push Beast all the way through his final sector.
Beast was P4, just about as they
yes.
got towards the braking zone. I don't know how he came out of their P1.
Skill.
But he did, and yeah, he is going to be carrying on, especially on those tyres. Anyway, Crazy's been a little bit... oh, he's had his hopes dented. He goes wide, though, Beast, in the penultimate corner. You don't see moves there very often, but Rapido G says, thank you very much. Tuga, watch out for him. Is he going to make a dive at turn 1 here? No, sits in behind, maybe looking for the exit, but Craggy's, he's had a good restart, and he's looking feisty.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, he took that a little bit offwards there. But at the end of the day, a little bit of dirty air from Tuga probably didn't help his case, as we're going to see Beast here not going defensive, looking very much to try and put it around the outside. With those old tyres, he's not necessarily going to be able to hold on to that one too well. Will he have... yeah, he would have picked up the DRS. So now we're really going to see... well, I mean, if the DRS was active, I mean. But we will see that he seems to be running a little bit less wing, where he's able to somewhat stay in the slipstream and not lose as much time as you would necessarily expect, especially if he's had a bit of a worse run. But getting squeezed to the apex by Craggy's Vow will not help him try and hold on to his positions, because he crazy idea there, worming his way through in the Williams car, as well as Oliver Sequeira. And at the end of the day, Beast here, not looking to be on the greater strategy, but at the end of the day, anything can change in sim racing. All it takes is one more safety car. He's right back in it.
Crazy's fighting away with Craggy's. Crazy actually got through on Beast and then went for it on the McLaren down at turn 9. That's a send from Gopher, I think, into the hotel section. You can see him still fighting away. He might lose out to Poloski. Indeed, he will, but he's dancing back around the outside as they come out from under the hotel. But Poloski has taken P7 here. RL Beast is a moving chicane as, oh my word, Gopher nearly hits the back of Poloski. Here comes CJQ, the young Scotsman, looking for P8 now. If he can hook it around the outside at turn 1, can he make that one stick? It'd be a very ambitious but fantastic move if he can. I think he's done it, you know. Just misses out in turn 2. That's a spin though for Gopher. It's all kicking off here, Josh.
Absolutely. I mean, I you know, was told a little bit about last night's broadcast, and I feel like I may have picked the right one to broadcast this week. It's been absolutely stunning. I mean, Tuga's looking for a move here as well. And this time, Rapido taking a somewhat of a defensive line, understanding that these two might not have to pit until the end of the session here once again, but they are still going side by side, neck and neck. Rapido very much not wanting to give this position up, but he won't be able to defend it, I don't think, with the ability that Tuga now has, with that DRS, with a little bit of battery. He's going to be looking to try and sail it all the way around the outside, late on the brakes. Certainly going to be a tremendous move if he's able to pull it off around the outside. He will get a better exit, but at the end of the day, Rapido having a little bit of understeer, and Tuga's able to make that move, but he's had to back out there. He wasn't able to keep it towards the inside, knowing he would have just overstepped his boundaries there on the track limits, heading towards that double right-hander. Very smart racing from Tuga, understanding exactly where he can make up the time, and you can see Tuga's got so much pace at the minute. It's ridiculous.
Question, where has Oliver Sequeira come from? He's all of a sudden in this lead train.
It's just what he does, isn't it? He just rocks up.
How many? I've done what? So I think this is the 10th PRL race that I've commentated on now so far this season, and he just pops up everywhere. You never know that he's going to be there. You don't think about him. You don't talk about him because he's, you know, maybe in the back end of the top 10. He's just doing his stuff, and then all of a sudden, bit of luck in the top 5. Hello, podium ? He's really up in the fight now. This top 5. Really going to be interesting to see how they fight away. CJQ a little bit off the back. He's going to come under pressure from Poloski. But here comes Tuga for the lead once again. The Red Bull driver inside line here for turn 6. Can he pull it off this time? Rapido brakes late, but I think he brakes a little bit too late. He's taken the Lewis Hamilton line there from 2021, and it's going to lose him 2 spots. Look at that from Craggy's.
Very opportunistic from Craggy's being able to get a good old up and over. But you can see that red light flashing, which is going to give a great opportunity. If a Crazy I do it, looking to put it around the outside of both cars. He backs out a little bit there. He didn't feel brave enough trying to put it around the outside of Craggy's. Given how late the McLaren broke, and he was able to hold on to that very well, being able to retain P2 here. But Rapido falling down the order a little bit. You got to think he will not be happy that he's just outbroke himself and not only lost 2 positions, but could potentially have lost touch of Tuga here if Tuga decides to deploy a little bit more battery. But the safety car is out, so this throws another spanner in the works. Do they dive it back in the pits for a set of mediums if they've got a pair?
I would. I
Surely.
don't know what these
Why,
guys
we go. Ollie Sequeira, go on.
I hope there aren't any pit lane entry, you know, rules in this league in terms of making sure you keep it within the white lines. Because most of those drivers certainly did not do that there. I think Tuga, Rapido and Craggy's, I think they've messed this one up a bit, if I'm honest.
Oh.
These guys on the mediums, I mean, we saw what happened to Beast. That was a hard against a fresh hard. This is going to be a hard against a fresh medium. I mean, these guys are going to be rapid.
You know, we said it. We said sometimes Oliver Sequeira, whether it's tier 1, tier 2 here at PRL, he's always up there. He's always doing something. He could very well be in a great position here to go on and try and win this race on these medium tyres. Could it be Oliver Sequeira's day, Darragh? Could it be?
It's not something I think I ever thought I would say, but today might be Oliver Sequeira's day. He's currently in P7. I feel like he's either near the back. We've seen him in a few races where he's struggled. He's, you know, been P13, 14, 15. He's not really had the best of races. But then every other race, I mean, I remember him getting, I think it was a P4. I believe at Portimao in tier 1.
Yes. Yeah, and then tier 2 he wasn't then tier 2 he wasn't really able to translate it again, was he?
No, but again, he just kind of pops up every now and again, and this is one of those times because, I mean, if he can get through on Crazy I Do It, he's on the best strategy.
Absolutely. Halo's retired there in the pit lane. Very interested to see what these drivers decide to do. Tuga's decided to dive into the pits while Craggies and Rapid OG stay out. They're going to the end on their hard compound tyres. Certainly a bold choice, especially considering what we just saw from Beast, not necessarily being able to reap the rewards of staying out during that first safety car. But if they're feeling confident, let's let them feel confident. Why not?
To say, I think that those guys that have just pitted might get a little bit lucky here. Indeed, I think Cougar definitely will.
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, look, you can then see Mythbusters come through. So Tuga, he's been very lucky there because, of course, he was able to pit, but because the safety car didn't catch the leaders, his pit stop was effectively like the others. So unlucky, really, for those guys. You know, your crazy idiots, your Olivers, who thought, oh, possible podium, possible win here. Tuga has very much and possibly put pay to those hopes, but Craggies and Rapid, they are in danger here.
I'm trying to think of a more definitive word than danger. They're vulnerable. You know, they're in a critical condition, right? They understand they're going to have to work together. Being championship contenders, being rivals here in Tier 2 for the championship, they've somewhat played chess with each other and ended in a bit of a stalemate. Neither of them wanted to pit. They both opted to stay out. It's not the optimal strategy. I feel like most of us would be able to see that one. But yet, they've decided to match one another because they didn't want to lose any ground to them in the championship. It's just it just adds to the narrative, doesn't it, Darragh?
It does. I mean, it really just makes this a very exciting second part of the season, really, and it makes us excited to keep this season rolling in the likes of Saudi Arabia and the likes of Qatar before we get to Belgium and, of course, Silverstone. Safety car will be out one more lap, I think. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be in at the end of next, which means 13 laps worth of a dash to the end. And those mediums that the guys have just pitted onto are very much going to hold up. Mythbusters has gone onto a hard. I don't know what Rapid is doing there. But he is going to be nervous, I'm sure of it.
Yes, unless Rapid was trying to tell us he's going to try and make a move around the outside on Craggy's heading into turn 1, which firstly would be absolutely phenomenal if we saw it happen, but secondly, to be able to call it under a safety car as well. I'll tell you what, we're going to keep an eye out for that one, Darragh, because if it happens, I will eat my hat. I don't think I've ever seen a move being done around the outside at turn 1. I can't remember. I don't think I have.
To be careful about saying you might eat your hat. I mean, the last time I remember someone saying that, and this is very much how much of a nerd I am, was at the 2015 election. Someone said, one of the pundits said, if this exit poll is right, I will eat my hat. And the exit poll was right, and so he ate a chocolate hat the next day. So yeah, you got to be careful about that one. If you can make it a chocolate hat, then you'll be fine.
I mean,
You'll be wanting it to come true.
Darragh, I'm diabetic. If it's a chocolate hat, that's going to be more dangerous than a fabric hat. Oh dear, I will be in trouble at that point.
Now that is something that I didn't realise. Let's make that a bread hat. Why not? That's safe, isn't it? Get your cards in, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, safety cars in this lap. 13 laps to go to the end. Craggy's Rapid OG, they are going to be piled under the pressure here. A throw you under the bus, Josh. Who's winning from here?
Mythbusters. Fresh hard tyres, safe until the end, comfortable. Rest of the drivers are going to overpush for tyres, use too much battery. Mythbusters is just going to hold on to the DRS. Last lap, overtake, get himself a podium. Contact between front two, job done. Mythbusters, race winner.
I'm going to go with Tuga. It sounds a little bit more boring, but I think he is going to do it here. I think he's on the right strategy. I don't see what Craggies or Rapid can do. Look where Beast is. He's P11. Could the same fate befall these two? Craggies, though, weaving around. There he goes. We're back underway here in PRL at Abu Dhabi. Tuga looking for the exit in the final corner. Not going to make a move at turn 1. Crazy I do it. Has been caught in a coma, quite frankly. He's over a second, or he was over a second behind Tuga as they made their way towards turn 1. But how quickly can Tuga negotiate his way through those two hard runners? Because when he does, I mean, this is his to lose, really.
Absolutely. Especially if he's able to split from the rest of the pack and really try and, create that little bit of a distance, that little bit of a mobile chicane, as you put it earlier, with only, not only one car. It's not just Beast this time. It's Rapid and Craggies. It's 2 cars. It'll be an ample worth of opportunities, but I suppose we can see, or expect to see, a little bit more of this. Rapid OG and Craggies going side by side, somewhat helping each other defend from the likes of Tuga. Crazy I do it. Backing it up a little bit more. But there goes my prediction. Trying to jostle there for P7 in the background. We'll just have to keep an eye on that one on the timing tab, because we can expect Tuga here to be looking to try and make a run somewhere in this final sector, because you would have to assume he's got to have so much more grip on the hard compound tyres.
You've got to be careful of Crazy. I do it behind him, because Crazy is
crazy
to try and make the move if Tuga can't do it himself. But I mean, a full lap is going to pass, and Rapid and Craggies are still in P1 and 2. So with every passing lap, their chances become a little bit better. But Tuga is going to be a man possessed, I'm sure of it, in these next couple of laps. Up towards turn 1. Can he make the move into the opening corner? No. He doesn't look like he's got too much straight line speed in that car, and Rapid is getting away.
Yep, certainly so. Rapid now 7 tenths. Could be looking to try and pull that open just a little bit more, while Craggy's going to be doing everything in his power just to hold on, just to try and get himself an optimal little window of slipstream. It's about 6 to 5.5 tenths, I reckon, to be able to get the optimal slipstream from the car in front, to really try and get maximum overspeed before you go and pull outside of the slipstream to try and make the overtake work. But Craggy's losing a position there at the hairpin, and Tuga is now going to be lining up the move on Rapid OG, and I don't feel like it's going to be too long before we see that move happen. It might even happen heading into a braking zone around the outside for Tuga. So late on the brakes, and of course it'll turn to the inside here for the right-hander, and he gets a move sorted on Rapid OG, giving Rapid OG the better exit and the inside line, though, for this banked corner heading up right now. It's going to be very, very close up towards here, but I do believe Rapid might have just done enough there.
He has done enough, but look at Crazy in the background, but around the outside, can he dance his way through Tuga? Well, I guess he can, but I'm not too sure what happened there.
I don't think we're allowed to show that.
The lead, though.
I don't think we're allowed to show that one on YouTube.
I think we're after the watershed. I think we're fine. But,
oh, okay, brilliant.
Yeah, that was. I didn't expect to see that, but either way, Tuga's through. In some interesting circumstances, Crazy will be hoping to not let Tuga get away. CJQ is up into P4, and we have another safety car.
Wow, safety car is not going to catch the pack, so these drivers have now got a brilliant opportunity to dive it into the pits yet again for a fresh set of tyres. You've really got to question how many tyres Pirelli bought to this Grand Prix. Pulaski on softs. Okay, we're getting some cars going onto that soft compound tyre. No one's going to get stuck by the safety car, so these top runners can also pit for it as well. Having a lap fresher tyres can make a world of difference.
Problem is for those guys who've just pitted, is these guys will still be able to. Basically, they won't lose anything from going that lap extra.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got the safety car, so it's all right for them at the moment. So, interesting, really, isn't it? But this is going to be an intriguing final 10 laps.
Darragh. CJQ. 5-lap old mediums. Craggy's 11-lap old hards. Is Craggy's going to take the bullet here and stay out for CJQ to put on a fresh set of softs?
That's a good point, actually. I reckon they'll probably both come into the pit lane. Of course, being a father-son duo,
exactly.
You don't want to have too many awkward conversations around the breakfast table in the morning. We'll see what they do. We might see if Craggy's.
Wouldn't it be Earnhardt-esque for Craggy's to stay out on this hard compound tyre and back up the field for his son or a fresh set of mediums to give it his all to try and win this race for?
You could say that.
I mean, hopefully without a fatality. But
Craggy's comes in. CJQ's going to stay out here.
Okay.
And this could be dangerous. All of a sudden, the pendulum swings right back to Rapid OG.
Oh. Crew steamers and go for staying out, though. So there's going to be, what, 4, 5 cars in between Rapid OG and Tuga for what's probably going to be an 8-lap sprint at the end of this race. Right.
Being exciting into the race. I mean, we had no safety cars yesterday. We're more than making up for that today. We've had 3 already. Who's to rule out a 4th? Comey Sand 3-second tyre penalty. A few 3 seconds creeping in, aren't there? So we might see that order change by the end of the race. But, you know, never know. This has been an exciting race so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has been. And, I mean, you know, you give it a little bit of consideration as well. Oliver Sequeira, once again, he's just there. P9, fresh set of soft tyres, could potentially finish on a podium as long as he's able to sort of navigate this gaggle of cars which have now all construed up behind the safety car, waiting for the soft compound runners to catch up to him. And the pace these soft tyres are going to have is going to be next level. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to watch these guys try and make moves, going for bold overtakes, late on their brakes, trying to hang it around the outside of corners. I'm expecting fireworks here.
Yeah, I'm expecting quite a lot to go down as well, but never do know, do you? Especially here at PRL, there'll be at least one more lap under safety car, and just Komi-san is light years away, so it might be just the extra. Top 3 mediums, next 3 hards, everyone else on the softs. It's a bit like a Venetian ice cream.
It's just very one-sided.
That'll be the best reference.
No, Neapolitan.
Well, it's not Venetian,
right?
is it? Sorry, Neapolitan.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, got the wrong Italian city.
It's Roman ice cream. No, it's certainly going to be interesting. You know, back before I can join the genetic version of diabetes, which, by the way, genes were great for giving me height, but not necessarily for sugar. You know, you've got to consider this is an awful lot of strawberry to have in your ice cream.
It would be an awful lot. I mean, I'm a chocolate guy, if I'm honest. So probably wouldn't be too into it myself.
Not a fan of the banana.
Banana's a weird thing for me because texture of a banana is
Mush.
I'm gonna touch it with a barge pole.
Fat.
But my mum does make excellent banana bread, and I don't mind the banana milkshake. So yeah, bit of a weird one. Anyway, sorry, we're getting sidetracked now, aren't we?
I mean,
we can afford to go run a safety car like that.
we can pull a segue out here. Are Tuga, Crazy, and CJQ's banana tyres going to hold out to the hopes they really want? How's the texture going to be?
I'm going to go with yes.
Oh, well, it's not long until we find out. With safety car being in this lap, we do have everyone reconjoined back under the safety car. Real question is, when Tuga is going to pull that bullet to try and make a little bit of a gap between himself, the rest of the runners, and then, of course, those hard compound tyres, which certainly I would have no intention of being on at this moment in time, but they're looking to hold on for this one. They are in a position where they can somewhat determine the result of this race. It's just how well they're going to be able to do that.
It is. Let's see, though, as we make our way through, because the safety car, it's coming into the pit lane. Tuga will lead us. Crazy I Do It second. CJQ in third. The 2 Haas cars. I wouldn't want to be one of those 2 drivers because they are going to be under pressure. Off goes Tuga into the darkening skies here in Abu Dhabi, and he will try and pull a gap away from Crazy I Do It. But looking in behind, Rapid OG, he is going to be on a charge, particularly against these guys on old hard tyres. We saw what the difference was earlier on between new hards compared to old hards. This is new softs compared to the same age of hard tyre. Here comes Rapid OG. Bit of ERS up towards turn 5, trying to dance his way around the outside. Look at the grip. It's almost like he's taking the shorter run through the corner, and he's up to P5 already.
Absolutely, we are seeing a little bit of a challenge for the lead here with Crazy I Do It, get the move sorted on Tuga. Tuga not necessarily looking to defend it there, but, you've got to consider Tuga and Rapid OG, they've been fighting throughout this entire duration of the race. Rapid OG might have the upper hand at this moment in time, but if Tuga is somewhat able to save up a little bit more ERS, watching Rapid OG burn it, making these moves on the older compound tyres, he might just have enough left in the tank come lap 28, come lap 29 to be able to put up a solid defence despite the tyre differential. And that's going to be absolutely critical for this race, as we are starting to see these soft compound tyres really trying to make a little bit of work on the hard compounds. But at the end of the day, It's very much going to be an opportune moment for these soft tyres to really try and get these passes done in places you wouldn't necessarily expect. Of course, the more creative you can be with your overtake, the more of the traditional overtaking opportunities you can somewhat size yourself up for. You can speed up your progress a little bit more than, you know, a traditional 1 or 2 overtakes per lap.
Yeah, you see, Crazy I Do It, though, leading the way after that safety car restart. Best chance for him to win a race, you'd say, this season, and he is the one to watch. Rapid OG still got to get through here on Rapid Gopher, but CJQ struggling as well, just a little bit further in front. Here comes Rapid OG, going to try and pick off one, but he's going to get boxed in like a fish around the outside here at turn 5. Inside for Rapid Gopher, up and under for OG. Can he make this one's work? I mean, it's so difficult. He's used a lot of the battery already. You can just see that yellow bar at the bottom diminishing really quite quickly. Needs to make this move right now. Inside line nearly hits the wall, but Rapid OG, he should have enough grip to make this one stick. Craggies is trying to overtake his son CJQ for P5 and 6, and Craggies has got through. Will also get a good exit here on Rapid OG. Fantastic racing.
Absolutely looking solid right now for Rapid, and look even better for Craggy's getting that move sorted, looking to try and catch up to Rapid Gopher. But I will just point out, we do have a 2-second gap now between Tuga and Rapid Gopher, so even if these soft tyres are able to get the way through on Rapids, they've still got a little bit of extra work to do to try and catch up to Tuga and Crazy I Do It, as we are starting to see a couple more creative moves back towards the rest of the field. I mean, Oliver Scryer picks up a 3-second time penalty, but he's more than happy to cause a little bit of a distraction mode to Mythbusters and, you know, shake a little bit of a leg, get a move on, and get those passes done in that final sector. It's fantastic to see.
One driver looking at the tower to look out for is actually the ones going side by side. Paddy Pad and RL Beast in towards turn 1. Around the outside goes the Alpine driver. I was going to say, keep an eye out for Paddy Pat because he's not got a penalty here, but he's lost out to Monster. So keep an eye out for Monster because these guys around here are going to gain quite a bit if they can use their soft sides again. A couple of positions on track. They will gain even more when the flag flies and the penalties are applied. But here comes Alfredo now. Paddy Pat. My thinking has jinxed him. He's lost 3 places since I thought he was on for a very good result here, and maybe that's going to be 4. But at the front, Tuga and Crazy I Do It, they're close together. Rapid OG and Craggy's fighting for P4 and 5. Craggy's, I think, on the inside, going to control this one, and Rapid OG has no answer. I mean, they're just fighting hammer and tong. There is going to be 5 laps to go at the end of this one. Time is running out.
Yeah, it very much seems like they've somewhat given up the hope of trying to battle for this race lead, and they're more than happy with fighting one another here, trying to maximise the amount of points we're going to be able to get here on the other drivers. But you've got to take into consideration Rapid Gopher there about hard compound tyre is doing an absolute stellar job holding on to P3 at the minute, keeping these 2 soft compound runners behind, and now both of them are very much struggling with their ERS. They've deployed a little bit too much trying to get overtakes done, which can give Rapid Gopher that little bit of a stretch on the straights that he really needs to kind of pull a little bit of a gap before heading into that final sector 3, where it can be very, very difficult, very technical. And of course, you'd be looking for as much of the technical grip as possible, not only from the setup, but of course from the soft compound tyres, like Rapid OG has just indicated there with a brilliant move around the outside of turn 1. I said I didn't see one, now I have. I'm more than content.
You can go to sleep a happy man, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
But we have only got 5 laps. It's a flapper to the end, as there is going to be getting close up there. I think it was Rapid OG nearly overtaking Rapid Gopher. Around the outside, Dance Beasts on Monster. He fights well with CJQ. The action is never ending here at Abu Dhabi as the lights flicker off the cars as they make their way down towards turn 6. Monster still defending. I mean, this really could go anywhere. There was that Craggies. Yes, it was to the inside. I mean, there was definite contact there with Rapid Gopher. Lost a chunk of time. He's got to be careful. Another 3-second time penalty. It's coming a bit unstuck for him at the moment as Mythbusters has gone around at turn 7.
And I'm not sure if Rapid OG was deliberately trying to break his end plate there, trying to get a little bit of extra speed down the straight so he can try and make a move on Rapid Gopher, because whatever Rapid Gopher's really got working for him, it's certainly paying dividends down the straight, as Crazy I Do It picks up a 3-second time penalty, which, unless he's able to get removed by the stewards, could potentially cost him a challenge here to try and really battle for that race lead and potentially the win.
Yeah, let's see how this one goes. 4 laps left. I mean, CJQ now with a 3-second time penalty. Rapid Gopher on those hards is still looking to pick up a P2 with Crazy I Do It's penalty. But Crazy I Do It will be hoping to use the DRS to pull away from these guys. At the moment, Monster on for P5 at the moment. He's having a good evening as it is. Alberto Maracucho maybe on for a P5, like a 6 or 7 at the moment. maybe an 8, but we'll have to see. Rapid OG around the outside. Can he make this one stick at turn 5? I think he's still going to pick up the DRS on the way down towards turn 6. A little bit of contact, rubbing his racing through the mid corner and in towards the exit. But Rapid OG, he has got the DRS, but so does Gopher.
Yeah, and Gopher as well. You can see with that little bit of DRS, he's still pulling away from Rapid OG, despite not necessarily getting the benefit of a slipstream, because the car in front is too far ahead, showing whatever wings he's running must be absolutely incredibly low and set for this exact sort of opportunity he can get, where he can really try and keep a hold and necessarily keep Rapid OG back. But you can see that red light starting to flash. Both drivers now struggling with their battery usage. This is where Rapid OG is going to be able to maximise that setup he's got equipped to that Sauber car and really try and be able to pull off a move. But he's not even able to pull it off around the outside there with a better exit. That is very much surprising. And all while this is happening, Rapid Gopher and Rapid OG both catching up to the rear of Crazy I Do It, who's lost touch now of DRS with Tuga.
Yeah, let's see though. Because there really isn't long left in this race, so
No.
it's going to be difficult for these guys to really regain anything from now. They've just got to make their situation work for them best. CJQ is defending as hard as he possibly can from the drivers behind, meaning that Alberto Maracucci, Polowski, Patty Pat, they're fighting over a possible P8 at the moment. Monster, though, he's still fighting over what could be, I mean, even a P, depending on how close he can get to those top guys, even a P4 here. But we'll have to keep an eye on those gaps as they come in towards turn 5. Oliver Sequeira's in here. That penalty, a bit of a handcuff on his race, but he looks relatively quick at the moment. Let's see if he can get a nice run down towards turn 6 here. But Rapid OG using the slipstream. Oliver couldn't be bothered with it.
No, not worth turning his wheel, apparently. He doesn't want any bit of that. He's going to wait for these two to go side by side and try and maximise the amount of time he's going to be able to gain there. But we see Rapid OG finally making him pass on Rapid Gopher. He's got a lot of work to do with only 2 laps to do it now in order to try and catch back up and improve from that third step of podium slightly higher up. But given all that being said, Rapid Gopher is going to get a brilliant run with a little bit of DRS there as well. Is he going to be able to try and hang it around the outside? No, his tyres just aren't up to the task at the moment. Of course, 13 lap old hard tyres won't be feeling exactly like a new set of tyres, to be quite honest with you. The rubber's going to be worn, they'll be slightly scrubbed, they're not going to feel the greatest. So he's just now somewhat tasked with a challenge of trying to hold on as best he can without picking up any penalties, which is going to be absolutely crucial. Realistically, you're looking next car back for him that he's directly competing against is going to be Monster, who is more than a DRS length behind.
Is, but really time is now ebbing away. 2 to go in this race here in Abu Dhabi. It's been a very intriguing evening of racing. 3 safety cars have come and gone, and there won't be any more intervention from that Mercedes before the end of the race. We are going straight to the end. Tuga looking good for a possible win in this one. I mean, he hasn't had a podium all season. Could this beat the night? CJQ, he's spun around, maybe some contact there, but his chances have been dashed, it's fair to say. But here comes Crazy I Do It towards turn 6. He's got that penalty. It's not going to stop him trying to take the win on track, and he goes down the inside. He takes the lead again, but I think Tuga's going to try and find him around the outside, but Crazy's going to get the DRS back towards 9.
Absolutely, but do you really want to make this overtake if you're Crazy? Yes, you can get that penalty removed depending on where you picked up the warning. But on the final lap of a race, you really don't want to be leading. We saw, multiple times how effective the DRS slipstream battery combination can be. Tuga's very much looking to try and make that last lap overtake, heading down the straight before the bank left-hander. That's going to be where Tuga's going to be looking to try and get this overtake to secure himself a race win here. It's down to Crazy now to try and back up the rest of the field, to put Tuga under a bit more pressure. And it certainly looks like it could be rolling out that way, because Rapid OG is somewhat caught up at a rapid rate of knots to the rear of Tuga's Red Bull.
Yeah, let's see though as they run their way through. This is going to be an interesting last lap here, because Rapid OG is on the back. Rapid Gopher's in this fight as well. The win is all of a sudden up for grabs. These soft tyres are hanging on. The mediums may be hitting a cliff. This could go either way. Rapid OG, Tuga, Rapid Gopher even in this battle, just like we saw Verstappen in 2021. The move for Rapid OG is at turn 5. But unlike 2021, it's not going to work out just yet. It's going to be the run down towards turn 6. Can he make this one stick? I mean, he's going to have to dip back into the slipstream. Maybe a send down into turn 9. He's got a bit of overspeed. He's got an overlap. And he's going to send his Alfa Romeo. But he's got to be careful. He's gone deep. He's cut the corner. Picked up a penalty. He's got to cross it. Crazy I Do It's been hit. It's all kicking off now.
Yeah, that was absolutely manic. Rapid there, letting the cars pass, understanding he made a mistake there. He outbroke himself, went completely off track to try and get that overtake done. It wasn't exactly on. We don't have Lewis Hamilton racing here today with us. If you do have to check your monitors, track limits are a thing. Picks up a 3-second time penalty. I'm sure stewards will not be removing that one. But Tuga regains the race lead. Crazy do it, holding on to P2. A Rapid Gopher as well, P3. Fantastic job holding on those hard compound tyres. But Oliver Sequeira still up there, P4. Fantastic race from him. But of course, there is only going to be one winner here tonight, Darragh. And of course, it'll be Tuga. Fantastic racing all throughout the field. But Tuga, just the cream of the crop here tonight in Tier 2. Picks up a race win. Rapid Gopher's going to finish P2. And Crazy do it P3 with the penalties all balancing out with Oliver Sequeira P4, Rapido P5, Monster P6, Poloski P7, Alberto Maracucci, as you said, jumping up into P8, Petty Pat P9, and RRL Beast P10. But as far as races go around Abu Dhabi, we said it before, Darragh, it can be a brilliant overtaking track. It can create very exciting races, and I feel like we saw that here tonight.
I mean, what a last lap that was. I mean, Rapid just completely missed his braking point. And just actively try to avoid hitting right into the side of Crazy I Do It. Just an exceptional end to that race. Tuga, though, is your winner. And full credit to Rapid Gopher, that man there. I think very well-deserved driver of the day. He stuck it out on that hard tyre, and he's picked up a P2 because of it. I mean, he nearly won the race with all that shenanigans on that final lap. But once we get the game ready, we'll go on to the final classifications of results. You can see there. That is going to be Tuga. The Portuguese driver winning here in Abu Dhabi. His first win of the season, I think it's fair to say. I think even in his first race, because I haven't seen the name pop up so far this season. Red Bull, very pleased with that one. But we will see the classified results shortly. And here they are. Tuga is your winner, not by much. Rapid go for P2. He started P15. What a race there for him.
Exactly.
Crazy I Do It in P3 where he started, but that doesn't really tell you the whole story. Oliver Sequeira, again, solid in P4. Rapid OG, he's going to be disappointed with P5, but it's still decent points. Monster 6th and Poloski in 7th. Maracuccio in 8th. A good jump on the penalties for him at the end, with Patty Pat recovering slightly to P9. RL Beast inside the top 10. And then you've got our non-point scorers, Alfredo, Crew Steamers and Craggies, Vintage AR5, CJQ, Mythbusters, I think other finishers, as well. Then we had just Komi-san, Domor, and SSR Halo not see the flag. But I mean, in the end, Josh, what a race that was. Fantastic racing all the way through the field, and we really didn't know who was going to win that race until turn 9 on the final lap.
No, we got absolutely spoiled. I wouldn't even say at that point, you know, because I was still thinking that one of those drivers could carry a little bit too much speed, being pushed, being pressurised into the very final corners. Realistically, that was fantastic. I don't feel like you can use another word to sum it up, to be quite honest with you. It was just brilliant. It really was
exceptional, and it just shows really that this is a fantastic championship that's going to go to the wire. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it all the way through. I mean, I'm trying to look. Is there anybody in the chat?
Yes.
I see a couple of drivers.
There's Rapid Gopher.
We jump across there now?
Absolutely. Let's hop over and give Rapid Gopher a cheeky little bit of an interview.
Oh.
Well, hello, Rapid.
Hello.
How on earth did you keep those tyres alive?
Mate, I'm sweating. Holy.
I mean, it was a brilliant race, very entertaining, but what did you have for breakfast to keep those tyres in the correct shape, mate? That was absolutely fantastic.
I think it was more about the birthday meal that I just had, you know, the very large curry and a few beers.
Heard it here first. Heard it here first.
Thank you.
Happy birthday,
Happy
mate.
birthday. That's a nice present.
Oh. No, that battle with OG was so much fun. Oh.
No, I mean, yeah. Going into this race, what were your sort of expectations? What was you really hoping to get out of it?
Oh, mate, points. Turning up to the lobby at about 5 to 10, having power walked up from the place I was having a meal, basically pulling a stitch, no practice, chuck a setup on. I'm just hoping for points, but it was loads of fun. There was loads of good racing tonight, and that battle with OG at the end, it was just a case of trying to keep him behind on those softs. I mean, I'm hoping it was entertaining enough for you guys on the stream, but it was loads of fun.
Yeah, I feel like I speak for both myself and Darragh. It was absolutely fantastic watching you trying to hold on. And you did a fantastic job of doing that. And at the end of the day, you reap the rewards of it. You grab yourself a podium. And I mean, how much of that last lap carnage did you see? And do you have any understanding of what happened?
I saw all of it. I was literally watching it all happen, thinking, I'll just take the opportunity when you guys mess up. And I think OG just his car wouldn't slow down into the chicane, so he had to cut the chicane. He unfortunately caught the front end of Crazy. Crazy managed to keep hold of it, so fair play to him. But it obviously cost him on exit. But yeah, then I saw Crazy's penalty of 3 seconds. I thought I'll just hold on for the last few corners and take P2.
Yeah, you did more than enough, mate. It was a fantastic drive. Very well done to keep those hard tyres in check.
Cheers.
How do you feel about Jeddah?
I love Jeddah, so I'm looking forward to next week.
Right.
Absolutely love the track.
Brilliant. We'll see you in here next week for a podium interview then, man. Yeah?
Hopefully.
Awesome. Congratulations on your PT there, Rapid Gopher. Brilliant race. And then moving over to Crazy, I do it. Crazy. At moments, I thought you was away. I thought you could have pulled off a win there. I mean,
not with the 3 seconds.
No, not with 3 seconds, and of course not with that last lap carnage which happened. But you've had such a solid race, mate. I mean, run us through it a little bit. How did you really feel, especially with the safety cars? Was there any moment where you thought, "Oh, okay, I might have made a mistake here," or was you very much confident in your decision making and kind of understood how it would all sort of play out?
I was very happy with it. My idea was always to do the hards first and then the mediums after. That was always my plan. Whether a safety car came out or not, because I've done it before and it worked quite well previously before. So I just went with the same strategy. It felt right and it worked, because when I was on those hards and they were on their mediums wearing off, I was much faster than them at points. I felt I could have caught some of them. I was a bit unlucky with what happened at the end, because I thought I'd done enough to pull away, and I wasn't expecting a car to come flying across at the chicane.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's fine. I'm happy with what happened and where I came, considering I had a 3 second time penalty. So I'll take third all day. And considering I don't expect to be much in this level, I'll take it. So.
I mean, you say that. I mean, you're still. I mean, after that result, you're going to be, I believe, P5 in the championship, or there or thereabouts. Because where did you get in qualifying? You were up there relatively.
I got third, I think, actually.
Yeah, like you were relatively quite up there. So I think you're going to be P5 in the championship going out of this. So even if you're not getting the headline results, you're definitely one of the drivers to beat. And looking forward, the next couple of rounds, of course, as we mentioned, Jeddah, it's a very different circuit in Qatar. I mean, are you confident you can try and keep up this momentum a bit?
No. The two tracks I hate the most. I absolutely despise both of them. Literally. I can't think of any two worse tracks on the calendar, and they're in there. So yeah, I expect to be at the back for those, but I will do my best to still try and get points where I can, but I'm not expecting anything like that tonight. Tonight was, I feel confident around Abu Dhabi, like in a way, so even just rocking up last minute, similar to Gopher, I just felt I could do it, but Jeddah and Qatar, I am not looking forward to those two at all. It's going to be tough, and I think I actually miss next week. Actually, I think I'm away, so I miss it. I'm missing next week.
Well, you don't seem too disappointed if you're missing Jeddah then.
No, exactly.
I have to say, with the greatest respect to Rapid Gopher, I'm slightly concerned that that's one of your favourite tracks, because it sends a shiver down my spine to think about it. But I mean, Rapid. I mean, if you're not here next week, Rapid, you're gonna have to look for some better tracks to enjoy.
Oh, I'll be here. I will be here.
He will be here.
I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to write that one down so that if you're not here next week, I can say it on stream. But thanks to you two for joining. It's great to talk to you both at the end of the race. But we will be back next week in PRL. As we mentioned, we do have the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It'll be Tuesday for Tier 1, Wednesday for Tier 2. And myself and Alex will take you through the Tier 1 race. Myself and Josh We'll take you through the Tier 2 race. And that being said, thank you to Josh for joining me this evening and for pressing all the buttons to make the broadcast look pretty. And that means we will see you next week, next Tuesday. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And PRL will return next week in Jeddah. We hope we'll see you there.
We'll catch you there. Bye-bye.